Stories about remote abandoned locations rich in history. Come with us in our travels from state to state, if you dare.
Be the last time anybody sees us alive. I don't know where she has us. We'll get something killed.
Hello? Gina, there is a beehive over there. Do you see that in the hole?
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Today's episode contains material and content that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Please be advised.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Oh, is it morning still? It's morning still here in LA.
Oh, it's 11.
It's almost.
It's 11. Time changed today, so we're a little off.
I'm a little confused.
Are you?
I woke
the
up
time change doesn't really affect me.
Well, I woke up this morning thinking I was getting you up super early for us to meet. Like, oh, you know what? I'm up and ready. You know, maybe we can meet even earlier this morning and, you know, get this done and go places and see things. And I look at the time and I'm like, oh, I'm still going to be there at the regular time. Never mind. Is the hour jump. So,
yeah. So how are you doing?
Besides my brown recluse spider bite, I'm doing great. Okay, I will fill people in. So, I always have a story every week. Everybody knows I work at Starbucks part-time. So I was working one night cleaning and I had some sanitizer spill on me, and I'm allergic to alcohol. So it was in heavy concentrate. I can do it okay, like in the sanitizer when you're just doing dishes and stuff because it's being diluted, but this is like a heavy concentrate that I had spilled on my pants. And I remember spilling it on my right side. I don't remember spilling it on my left side, but I don't know,
Yeah.
But I didn't think twice of it. I washed my hands. My knuckles got really red and itchy, but I washed it off, but I didn't think about my legs. So I ended up getting a chemical burn on my legs. Well, behind my left knee, it kept getting worse and like progressively worse. So finally, through workman's comp, I finally go. I'm like, because I'm thinking it's the chemical burn. Me and my boss is like, you need to go, go get it checked out. I don't know why it's getting worse. These blisters are forming. You have the pictures.
Yeah.
It's my leg, guys. It looks like a butt. When you take an up close picture of a body part, you never know what it is, but it's behind my knee. So if you put the pictures up, just a little disclaimer, but it's behind my knee. But as the days got, it just like, you just see it. So I ended up going to urgent care and the doctor's like, yeah, on the right side, that's, a chemical burn. It's getting better. It's obvious. Like, it isn't that bad. He goes, but that behind your knee, that's a spider bite. And he just kind of said, it's a brown recluse. And I'm on antibiotics now and trying to get better. But yeah.
I said, don't Google pictures, whatever you do.
No. And it was giving me a heart because it's like, he's like, and make sure you don't pop the blister. Make sure the pus doesn't get popped. Wear loose clothing so the pus doesn't get into your bloodstream. And then I'm reading like, coma, death, things like that.
Yeah. When I was bartending, there was this regular that would come in all the time, and he didn't come in for a long time. And then he came in months later and he said that he was like almost died from getting bit by a brown recluse spider. Yeah. And it literally it was eating away at his leg. I guess it was on like a bench or something, I think. And he sat down and it bit like the back of his thigh.
Yeah.
And there was like a hole in his leg.
It happened to my brother. They had to dig out in his leg.
Crazy.
They had to dig out a hole because it's like necrosis. I believe it's like
it's just dead tissue.
Kills away at the skin if you don't catch it. And truthfully, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But because it kept getting worse and my other one wasn't.
Well, and then she called me. She called me and she was like, I'm not feeling good. Like I just don't feel good. And
I was going to tell you that too. Like
you better go to the doctor.
Well, it was so weird because with the chemical burn, you think, oh, it's just going to hurt where the skin is. Mm-hmm. But I was even telling Gus the night before, I said, I just don't feel good. I don't know what it is about but I'm just not feeling good. I felt really like down, almost like a depression cloud. Like it was just so weird, like just lethargic. And And I thought like, maybe I'm just feeling really sad for some reason. I thought it was hormonal.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe it's messing with my head because I have the burns on my legs and it's hurting behind my knee. And the thing is that morning after it happened, I had gone to bed. And my husband always gives me a kiss in the morning. So he went to go kiss me good morning because he was leaving for work. And as soon as he kissed me and started walking out the door, I felt like this pain in the back of my leg, like, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I thought at first I was having a blood clot. I was like, oh my, like a sharp pain.
That's where her head goes.
I know. I thought, this is it. This is the big one. But I think that's the time I got bit. But then I thought, I got burned with the sanitizer I'm allergic to. And I looked in the back, and if you do it by the progression, you'll see like, when I first got out of bed, it's red, but it's not that bad,
Yeah.
So, and it's matching the burns on my right thigh.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, I got burned behind my knee. I didn't realize it. And that skin's thinner. So that's why it's hurting more.
Right.
It's in that spot. But while I'm at work, all of a sudden, when you bend your knee at work, cause you're sitting in
Well, and
the
it's
office,
right at the bend. So it's like, how do you that's just like the worst place.
Every time I open up my leg like
Yeah.
that, it started feeling like the skin was sticking together.
Yeah.
It like kept sticking, like it kept getting thinner and thinner. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I went to urgent care the very next day, and they said, "Oh, we're sorry, we can't see you because it's a workman's comp issue." Because they said, "How did you get hurt?" So they didn't even look at it. So I'm like looking back, like, what if I had just thought like, okay, it's getting better on here, it'll get better over there, and
you would have got sick enough, I think, where you would have eventually gone.
That's true. I mean, I don't let things go.
Yeah.
And that's the case the next day when I met my boss at Starbucks, because she was like, that night, I have to say that Friday, she's like, I'm off work right now, but I will drive to the Starbucks and I'll meet you there. We can fill out the paperwork right now so you can go to urgent care today. And I told her, we've had a lot of rain here. So I'm like, no, it's raining. I'm already in bed. I'm comfortable. Yeah. I'll just see you tomorrow. It's not a big deal. And so the next day I had to open. So I'm like, I'm not going to let them down. Even though I wasn't feeling too well, I was like, I'm still going to go open. And then as the day progressed at Starbucks and I'm working, my leg is starting to throb more and more. And I'm like, it just doesn't feel good. And so my boss said, at lunchtime, call workman's comp, see what they say. And they're like, just go down, to urgent care, whatever. She's like, yeah, just go. It's on the clock, Well,
at least they saw you for that too, because
that's
not workman's comp.
No, that's what he said. He goes, I have to do 2 cases. I have to close out the case on workman's comp because the burn's on your right-hand side, which is fine. He goes, but I got to do another one for the spider bite because I can't charge that to work. That's not workman's comp. And I'm like, no, that happened when I was laying. I know exactly when it happened. And that's scary. But good news is that I change my sheets very frequently. So I had already, from that day, the sheets that were on there were already changed. Like I changed the sheets. So I was already in clean, fresh sheets. But now when I get my energy back up, I'm going to move all the bed and I got to get under the bed, everything. I'm going to call because we have an exterminator that comes once a month. But most of the time I just have them do outside the house.
Yeah.
Very rarely I have them come inside because I got the cat, and stuff. And so, but I'm going to have to call them back to come inside and spray my house. But 2 weeks ago, I did find a brown recluse dead on my dining room table. And I thought Mochi, because, Mochi catches spiders.
Interesting.
And I saw a dead one on my table. It was a premonition.
Oh, wow.
It was like kind of, like those things that they send you to warn you. There was a dead brown recluse spider on my dining room table. And I didn't get too scared because he was upside down. So I knew he was dead. But I had to put him in the trash. And I thought, Mochi, stop bringing in these spiders.
Oh, dang.
I wonder if it had babies. And now it's all over my room. And they're all.
Oh, dear Lord. Now she's going to start to spiral.
I'm like freaking out. I know one of the girls at Starbucks, she's like, oh my gosh, I would tear apart my whole, oh my God, I don't even know how you can sleep in your bed anymore. And I'm like, stop doing that to me. Don't scare me.
Yeah,
so anyway.
No, that's scary. That is. I mean.
So because all you hear are the horror stories. But when I did read, I felt a little bit better this morning. When I read about brown recluse spiders, they say 90% of them heal on their own. Like you can get a spider bite and 90% of brown recluse spider bites will actually heal on their own. They won't get
that
to
bad.
That point where they get as big as mine.
Yeah.
They even said like, the doctor was like, yeah, this one's infected. He's like, it's hot to the touch. It's like, he's like, yeah, you need antibiotics. But my husband had got a bite on his back one time. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a spider bite. And he thinks it just healed. Like it was
just healed on its own. Yeah.
Cause we have them all over. Like when we take out the trash, we have to be careful because during certain seasons, you'll see the black widows.
Yeah.
That's why I have them come once a month to spray because we get ton of spiders. I don't know if it's because of we're up by the hillside.
Yeah, maybe.
And they come off the hillside.
Wow.
That's like what is that? That one.
Arachnophobia. Yeah.
When the spiders would all run.
Yeah.
I want to be one of those people that like do the sound effects, for movies.
You'd be good at
I think that'd be fun.
You'd be good at that.
But okay, we'll get into today's story. Enough about me. Oh, how's your week going? Actually, let's catch up with Gina.
I'm good.
No spider bites.
I'm good. No spider bites. I'm good.
Work. Is the work going better though?
Yeah, we're just kind of in limbo right now, but
It's a little better. Okay.
yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. So today's story is very close to us.
Yeah.
It happened in 2019 and it literally happened
Couple miles?
like in Shannon's backyard, basically. It's very, very close. And, it's a really, really hard story, but I definitely feel like, things like this need to be talked about because
awareness.
our system is broken. It is so horribly broken. And if this story that we do today reaches one person, then I feel like my job is done.
Absolutely. It hit so close to home that when I would drive home from work, I actually had to change my route home for work when this actually happened because they blocked the street that I had to come up and over.
Couldn't get through
Hacienda to La Habra. They actually had it.
Yeah, it was blocked off.
And so,
So the story we're going to do today is about a little girl named Trinity Love Jones. And
another child one, so just a little warning.
Yeah. And when I say the system is broken, I feel like it there's a lot of systems I think that are broken. I'm just trying to choose my words wisely because I'm not trying to offend anybody. But working in a school, we're mandated reporters. And in my almost 25 years of working at a school, I've witnessed a lot of things. And, making these reports of child abuse or neglect or whatever the case may be, it's just you just don't think about it. You just have to do it. It's something that you have to do. However, once it reaches the other side, and I'm not saying by any means that the people that work in these offices have an easy job at all. But I feel like there are a lot of cases, for instance, the Gabriel Fernandez case. I'm sure the majority of you guys have seen that. That's really hard to watch. And
when there's a system out there that's supposed to protect the kids, and I think they give a lot of, benefit of the doubt to families, parents.
They do.
A lot of rope give. I don't even know how to say it too.
And I understand that they probably get a lot of calls that,
I didn't even
maybe
know.
are people, trying to, there's not a lot of truth behind it. And maybe it's kids that are calling that are trying to get an uproar and trying to get their parents in trouble. I'm sure, I can't even imagine the amount of false calls that they must get.
Because as a teacher, and we're in the educational system, we lose our license.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't even know how much further that can go, but we have to report even
anything, a suspicion. And that's, and that's like a big thing too is, you don't have to have proof. You don't have to have proof that a child is being abused. You just have to have suspicion.
Yes.
And of course, that's hard to make that decision. Like, when do I call? When do I make a call? When do I write a report?
But they do give us like, kind of like signs to look for. If you see these
absolutely.
signs, call.
And then they tell you like, if you don't, you can be held liable up to thousands of dollars and 6 months in jail.
Yeah. And your license taken away from you. Like,
so it's like, it's hard. And again, we have another case here of child abuse, and nothing happened. Yeah. Absolutely nothing happened. And it's just happening more and more and more. And if you research the cases where this has happened, it's just a disgusting amount of cases that pop up. And I just feel like there needs to be something done. There has to be something done about it, because the shit that is going on out there is just, it's just too much. It's way too much. So, like I said, today's case, it's going to be about a little girl named Trinity Love Jones. And she was a 9-year-old little girl, and people described her as being happy and cheerful. And she was a social butterfly. She loved to write, and she wanted to be a YouTuber. She also loved fashion and would also play dress up all the time. And from everything that I read about her in different articles, she just seemed to be like, your typical 9-year-old little girl that just loved to just play with toys and Barbies and dress up and all that stuff. So, on March 5th, 2019, Trinity's body was discovered around 10 a.m. on an equestrian trail near a Buddhist temple in Hacienda Heights, California. And so we have video of this. And it is, the area that this is just basically all shrubbery. Yeah. It's the Hacienda, the road that it's on, is just a windy, wooded area. And
but it's really close to like, it's
a main street. Yeah,
it's like right when you're coming out of like the 2-lane highway that's very narrow and very covered, and where you would think someone would put a body. Yeah, it's like right after that in this open section where it's like
where she was dumped.
Familiar, they probably weren't familiar.
I'm guessing not.
Yeah, because you think they would have done a better job. Yeah. If they were really trying to hide something. Because the McDonald's was,
across the
feet
street.
away. Yeah. Like, yeah. We ate breakfast there this morning. I mean, it was right there. Yeah. And so, it's just.
Yeah. So, she was found by county workers who were they were cleaning up some brush from the area. And she was found partially stuffed inside of a black rollaway type duffel bag. So she was, half of her body was inside of the duffel bag, and then from about the chest up, her body was outside of it. She was wearing a long sleeve pink t-shirt that read "Future Princess Hero." Oh. And she was wearing gray pants with little pandas on them. She was approximately 4 feet 5 inches tall and weighed approximately 55 pounds. Authorities said that her body didn't show any signs of trauma. Now, I have a real issue with this. I have a huge issue with this. And I'm not saying again that people are not doing their jobs, but when I go into detail of what happened to this little girl, for somebody to say that she did not have any fucking obvious signs of abuse done to her, what the fuck are you doing? What are you looking at to be able to say that there were no obvious signs of abuse? And
I would say, like, even the way she was dumped, there was nothing on there, like, and nothing happened to her body as she's rolling down this hill.
It's I don't understand. I don't understand. Originally they had no leads and no suspects, but that was later changed with an announcement that they had 2 persons of interest. Authorities later said that they believed her body was pushed over the side of an embankment from a turnout along Hacienda Boulevard just south of Colima Road. It is believed that this was done in the afternoon hours of March 1st. Trinity's death would later be ruled a homicide. However, the detective declined to reveal how Trinity was killed. At the investigator's request, the autopsy report was placed under a security hold, which means that the coroner cannot discuss the results. Trinity's cause of death would be ruled blunt force trauma and neglect.
I remember when this first came out and I first heard about it, I'm like, where's the family of this child? Because for a while they didn't even say, like, nobody came forward to even identify her at first. And I was thinking, like, nobody's missing a 9-year-old, like, little girl.
I think like everybody in the area, I think that was like their first thought is like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it didn't make any sense whatsoever. Because of a sketch that the sheriff's department had put out to the public, a tipster contacted investigators saying that it resembled that of Trinity Love Jones. They expressed concern because they didn't know the whereabouts of Trinity or her mother, or the family. So, yeah, I think the more that we get into this case, you'll obviously see why I'm so angry about. And again, I want to go back and I just want to say, like, I'm not talking bad on the authorities, DCFS, like nothing like that. It's just, I don't understand how in an original report it can say that her body showed no signs of trauma. And then when you hear the stuff that was done to her, it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. The dots don't connect. So Trinity's mother, Takista Graham, is a registered sex offender. She was convicted in 2009 and released in 2016 for enticing a minor female under the age of 16 for prostitution. How is this woman a mother? Like, well, I know how she's a mother. I know how it happens.
Why did they have, and again,
why is she
like,
raising a child?
I have, this brings up like so many things, like,
or at least being watched.
Why do you have custody of your children? Like, I
yeah, I'm like, why are at least not on being watched, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, and I know there's not enough social workers out there because
of
we
course
would prefer to pay entertainers, actors, you know, people out there more money than we are willing to pay people who do a service for our children.
Yeah.
More than we pay teachers, aides,
everything.
Social workers.
We don't have a library at school anymore.
Yeah. No librarians.
We don't have a school nurse anymore.
Yeah. It's just amazing what we think is important and what to do with our money.
Yep.
San Bernardino court records show that she received a suspended prison term, time served in jail, and probation. She was ordered at her sentencing not to solicit or accept a ride from an unknown motorist, not to be parked in a motor vehicle with a lone motorist, not previously known to you, not to approach motorists or pedestrians not previously known to you, or to engage in conversations in a public place or street. Not to occupy a hotel or motel room or any other residence unless registered to you in your full and true name. This rings prostitution.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
So, okay. In 2010, she was accused of living in a house full of ill fame, brothel, disorderly conduct, and prostitution. She also had charges in Fresno County. So this wasn't her first rodeo.
No.
In San Bernardino.
No.
Takista was very active on Facebook, where she went by the name Dior Rax. It's very fancy.
Yeah. Yeah. When I read that, I thought, oh, I mean, again, like, I mean, it's whatever.
The majority of her page was filled with selfies. However, she did have 2 pictures of Trinity on there during a day they spent at the zoo, which is so sad because as a mother, I can't even probably count the amount of photos I have on Facebook of just my kids.
Well,
and me. And
but
like,
and here's the thing too. I totally get not wanting to put your kids out there too.
Yeah.
I totally understand that people don't want to put, especially a young
yeah.
kid.
Okay.
I totally get that. However, I don't think that that's the reason that her child was not on. I think she didn't have pictures of there because she just didn't take any pictures of her.
Yeah. So in one post she wrote, "My mama didn't raise no fool, a fucking psycho, but no fool." In a 2016 post she wrote, "My kids saved me from doing life in prison all the time." Her page also showed that she was dating a man by the name of Emil Hunt. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Emil Hunt.
I think that's how you say it. It's a strange spelling. So,
yeah. So I have a question. So she had more than one kid. She had more than Trinity.
She had 3 kids, I believe.
Oh, okay.
3 girls. Where the other 2 are, I don't know.
There's not a lot out there. Like when we were trying to look for information and stuff, and it's a shame though, because I think if more was out there of people who have previous, and you'll see for both of them, they've had previous convictions of incidences with minors. I think if there's more out there, it would protect the public more.
Yeah.
Maybe
and it's just, I mean, again, I just go back to like, there's a lot of situations like working at a school, you know, and you hear about school shootings. And when these things happen, it's always, oh my God, all the signs were there. I feel like this is the same situation. Like, oh my God, all the signs were there.
All these red flags.
She solicited a child under 16 years old for prostitution. Like,
to me, that's sex trafficking. Like at that point with a little kid. Like
and she has a daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that makes a lot of sense. Like I don't understand. And it's always like, why do we have to wait for something like this to happen before we start to do something?
Yeah, because this one wasn't only just she was enticing them to become a prostitute. She's literally bringing people in for sex trafficking, like for minors to. Yeah,
she's a pimp.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean,
and that's scary because sometimes women,
I mean, they want to call it a house of ill fame. Like it's a prostitution house, a whorehouse.
It's a prostitution ring, and those are the worst. It's when it's a female to female crime. Like to me, I feel like
because that girl probably trusted her.
Yeah, I think that's what I think. Like the trust is there.
Yeah,
I can't get her. It is a female. Like how horrible is that?
Yeah, it's awful.
How broken do you have to be to bring in other women to do what you're doing?
Yeah,
and
disgusting.
It's disgusting. So in 2005, Emil Hunt was convicted of child abuse after his toddler son was found unresponsive, malnourished, and bruised at his San Diego home. On March 30th, 2004, San Diego Police Department found the unresponsive 3-year-old boy and rushed him to Rady's Children's Hospital trauma unit. He had severe bloating and internal injuries to his chest, abdomen, back, arms, and legs. The boy was intubated and had several episodes of a low heart rate that required drugs to bring it back up. The 3-year-old was so underweight that he was in the 3rd percentile for children his age and had old scars and bruises all over his body. I always tell you it's really hard for me to read stuff like this.
Yeah, no, it's hard.
Yeah. The doctor said the child had malnutrition that can only have been caused by prolonged neglect. To me, it's just because when you bring a child into this world, the people they trust the most are their parents.
Yeah.
Like all these where the parents murder their kids or they abuse them. It's like, where do they turn to when they don't have that security?
Yeah, they have nowhere.
It breaks my heart.
This little boy's 3 years old.
Yeah. That's his whole world is his mom and dad.
That's all he knows.
Yeah. Hunt was arrested on 1 count of torture and 2 counts of child abuse. After Hunt was arrested, his partner at the time, the mother, Patricia Frazier, was interviewed. She said Hunt would spank the boy with a belt or cord about 4 times a week. She also described to police how they would withhold food from him as a form of punishment. When he did eat, the meals consisted of green beans and mixed vegetables. Meat was only given as a reward. Frazier pleaded guilty to child abuse and was sentenced to 5 years of probation and 180 days in custody. After she got out, she attended a year-long child abusers treatment program because of what she had done and what she had witnessed.
Yeah.
A year after his arrest, Hunt pleaded guilty to 1 count of child abuse and was sentenced to 12 years in prison.
In July 2018, Graham, her boyfriend, and Trinity had moved out of a relative's home. So I guess they were homeless around this time. They had been living with relatives. And in July of 2018, they had moved out. They were said to have been sleeping in her boyfriend's SUV and at various motels. The family said that after that, they didn't see Trinity very often. Once Trinity's body was identified, family members began to post on Graham's Facebook. One family member, Michelle Wilson, I believe I'm saying that right, claimed that Trinity was never reported missing because her mother kept her away from the family. So it sounds like once they moved out, there wasn't much.
So what you're telling me is Miss Dior Rax is living out of her boyfriend's car.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Living in a car, living in motels. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So every time the family would ask about Trinity, Graham would say that she was okay. The family said that they called DCFS and nobody would listen to them. Diana Wilson, who is Trinity's grandmother, said that I have cried out to the system for so long for my grandbaby. I cried out to the Department of Child and Family Services. I cried out to my daughter's parole officer. Wilson said that she knew that her granddaughter was being abused, and she said she blames her daughter's boyfriend, Emil Hunt, for mistreating the child.
Wilson, grief-stricken, preparing to bury her 9-year-old granddaughter, Trinity Love Jones, as if saying goodbye isn't overwhelming enough. Knowing her sweet Trinity was murdered is too much to bear. You cried out to the system.
To the system. I cried out to the Department of Children's Services. I cried out to my daughter's parole officer.
Diana saying she knew her granddaughter was being abused. She blames her daughter's boyfriend for mistreating and killing the 9-year-old girl whose body was found in a duffel bag tossed on a brushy trail in Hacienda Heights. Detectives making the gruesome discovery back on March 5th. The child's mother, Tequesta Graham, already on parole for an unrelated crime, and her boyfriend, Emil Hunt, charged with murder in the 9-year-old girl's death. If you could say anything to Trinity right now, God gave you 30 seconds, what would you say to that?
Granny, Trinity, Nani never forgot about you. Nani was there. Nani was crying out. Because I know my grandbaby was saying, Nani, where are you?
Graham enrolled Trinity in homeschooling, and she was basically with her and her boyfriend all the time.
So here's another instance.
This is what kills me.
Yeah, like but we've experienced that where we've reported and they're like, they don't follow up or they don't, it doesn't sound like child abuse or whatever the reasons why, but
it doesn't constitute a home visit.
Yeah.
And so for the grandmother to not only reach out to child services, but her daughter's parole officer.
Yes.
And still nothing was done. I can't imagine
this little girl still in her
being
custody.
Her family, and you're trying to do so much and nothing's happening. You're getting no response. Like, that is disgusting.
Yeah.
The director of Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services made a statement. This just makes my skin crawl. They said, "We have searched hours and hours worth of tapes. We have looked at every electronic system that we have in DCFS, and the only call that we can locate is one that took place in 2011. We found the child to be happy, healthy, and well-nourished. We found no signs of any abuse or neglect. There were no marks to the child's body." Bullshit.
With the director of DCFS about Diana's claim that she begged for the department to get involved and help her granddaughter.
We have searched hours and hours worth of tapes. We have looked at every electronic system that we have in the Department of Children and Family Services, and the only call that we can locate is one that took place in 2011, about 8 years ago. We found the child to be happy, healthy, well-nourished. We found no signs of any kind of abuse or neglect. There were no marks on the child.
I just don't know how much they look. Like, do they go knock on the door? Hi, DCFS. Yeah, and a couple questions, and okay, thank you.
After watching that Gabriel Fernandez documentary, it just puts a whole new spin on things for me.
Yeah,
it really does.
I haven't seen it, so
don't watch it.
Yeah, did the because you know how I get with the children. But did they actually even follow through and visit the home, or did they just say like,
they
oh
would
yeah, we
call, and like it was the way that little boy looked, I can't even imagine being his teacher and having to, like, I don't understand. And this woman was taking him out in public. She was allowing him to go to school. She was taking him out in public. Looking, the child didn't even have teeth. His teeth had been knocked out. His head was shaved. He had bruises from the top of his head to the tips of his toes. Like, and it's not like, I understand, like, children this age are going to have bumps and bruises. They're kids. They fall. They break bones. Like, this is to a different level.
Yeah.
This is just something different. Like, it just, you can tell, like, it's just different. And so, you know, they can't find anything all of a sudden. Like, oh, how convenient. So Trinity's biological father, his name is Antonio Jones, and he said that she was just the best. She was full of character, full of life, and full of joy. Words can't explain what I am feeling right now. I just want answers, and I just want justice. I cannot imagine how this poor man is feeling. I can't imagine.
A community came together to say goodbye to a little girl many of them never knew, but whose tragic death touched their hearts. 9-year-old Trinity Love Jones was given a proper funeral weeks after police say her life was cut short.
A unique, gifted, charismatic, beautiful, life of the party young girl, and as her father described her, someone with so much character.
Earlier this month, Trinity's body was found in a duffel bag on the side of the road in California. While police searched for her identity and who left her there, vigils were held to show her love. Many mourners say Trinity's story didn't have to end this way.
When I heard about the story, you know, the first thing came to my mind was like, Lord, I would have took that child in.
The girl's mother and her boyfriend were arrested in connection with her death. Tequesta Graham and Emil Hunt are charged with murder, accused of killing Trinity.
We pray for them. That's what we do as a family of faith. We pray for everyone.
Trinity's father and his family attended the funeral to say one final farewell to this precious child.
Say a prayer for us, please, because we all need prayer right now in the situation that we're going through.
Now that little Trinity has been laid to rest, the community will be watching for justice to be served.
So initially, like we said, the authorities had said that there were no signs of abuse or trauma found on Trinity's body. However, while performing her autopsy, the medical examiner had to draw several diagrams to document all of her injuries.
And
so
and that's not a sign
nothing that was visible to the naked eye. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It was said that she was scarred from head to toe. The evidence also showed that Trinity had been beaten, denied food, and was bearing an infection on her feet that was so bad it made it hard for her to wear shoes. What in the hell? Like,
yeah,
I don't understand. During a preliminary hearing, the prosecutors provided details, including text messages and videos that led investigators to suspect Trinity's mom and boyfriend of killing her. The investigators read a message aloud in which Hunt and Graham exchanged about punishing Trinity and kept complaining that the child kept urinating on herself, which, might I add, is the number one thing in child abuse.
Children do. It's fear.
Victims.
It's just,
Yep. Graham texted Hunt saying Trinity is going to get it. Like, this is disgusting. Another exchange came in January of 2019 when Graham asks Hunt to show Trinity the text message that she sent saying, "We were going to give you a burrito. Now you messed up."
It's right there, withholding food.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
During interviews with Hunt and Graham, they said that 2 weeks prior to her death, the girl had fell and hit her head. Now, this is their story. This is their story. So they're saying that 2 weeks prior to her death, that she fell, she hit her head. There was a large lump on her forehead, and both of her eyes had started to swell. She became lethargic and began to slur her speech. Trinity's mother said that on February 28th, she woke up and noticed that she was congested. She said that she gave Trinity some Pedialyte, a bowl of soup, and a bagel. And then she got in the shower, right? Yeah. Now all of a sudden you care.
I know.
And you think that her slurred speech, you think that some Pedialyte's going to fix that?
That's a 911 call. Yeah.
So she said after she fed her that she got in the shower. When she got out of the shower, she noticed that Trinity's teeth were clenched and that she was having a seizure. That afternoon, Graham went to work at a dollar store and Hunt waited in the car in the parking lot while Trinity was sleeping in the back seat. When Graham got off work at 9:30 p.m., the three of them returned to a hotel and Hunt carried Trinity back into the room. Later that night, Graham went to check on her and noticed that she wasn't breathing. She told authorities that her first thought was that Hunt had put a pillow over her face earlier that evening when they were in the car. Hunt said that he woke up around 3 a.m. on March 1st and noticed that Trinity wasn't breathing. He said that him and Graham both freaked out because their criminal histories, but they told each other, we didn't do anything wrong.
But my first thought, if something was wrong with my child, would not be my husband put a pillow over that kid's head. Like, it's just...
Okay, well, first of all, what this is telling me is this child has been dead since yesterday.
Yeah. In the car.
She was dead when you carried her into the motel.
Yeah.
So, and then you get up and you just check on her and she's not breathing. And then it's like, oh, I wonder what happened. Well, we didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The girl's mom said that she wanted to call 911, but Hunt convinced her not to and suggested that they put her body in a dumpster, which apparently made her angry. So after everything that happened,
that's
this
the part
is the thing that's gonna really piss you off.
So This is her story.
She also said that they didn't take Trinity to the hospital after the fall because they thought that they would get in trouble. Well, if you have nothing to hide,
yeah, you call 911.
Not a big deal.
I don't even understand why. I mean, why you would not call 911 after a seizure.
Her eyes are swollen and she's slurring her speech.
Well, if that didn't do it for you, the seizure. I mean, the seizure right there.
Can't get. I don't.
I've seen my
after
child
a bump on the head, but like your son has a condition. This little girl is seizing after a bump on the head and like swollen eyes and slurred speech. Like,
but even for him, like it's just. The first time he had one,
of course, it's traumatizing.
I call 911. Like I'm literally freaking out. Probably he had no clue what's going on. He's woke up cool as a cucumber. I'm freaking out.
Yes.
So it's like I can't see if you're witnessing your child have a seizure, how you are not on the phone with 911.
Yep.
Like it's
and all you're worried about is yourself getting in trouble.
And I work with kids who have seizure, and I know what they look like. I know.
Yeah, I see seizures all the time.
Yeah,
but it doesn't
when it's your
make
child,
them any easier to watch.
When it's
either.
your child, you freak the fuck out.
But
like,
I think
I don't
too,
get it.
like knowing that this is a condition and this happens, and they're gonna come out of it. They're gonna be okay. This isn't that situation.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why she didn't freak out.
It's just. It's very, very hard to understand.
Yeah.
I don't get where these people are coming from. So just before 6:00 a.m. on March 1st, surveillance footage from the Budget Inn in Santa Fe Springs shows Hunt carrying a body wrapped in a blanket. About 30 minutes later, video footage from Walmart shows Hunt purchasing 2 shovels, a throw blanket, and a lighter. At 11:36 a.m., Hunt and Graham were spotted at a discount store purchasing a rollaway duffel bag that was identical to the one that Trinity's body was found in. Because Graham was on parole, she wore an ankle monitor, and they were able to track her whereabouts. Man, Dior Rax she's a bright one, isn't she? She's a bright one.
She's not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Man. So her ankle monitor showed that she was in the area where her daughter's body was discovered about 30 to 40 minutes on March 1st.
Do we even need to hold court at this point? Like, why are we bothering with the trial? Like,
come on. Like, really?
Why are we spending our money
You have an ankle monitor on.
I just don't get it.
For the love of God. I don't understand. I don't. On March 8th at around 6 a.m., Hunt and Graham were stopped and detained at a U.S. Border Patrol checkpoint in Hudspeth County, Texas. They were not immediately connected to the homicide. They detained Graham on an unrelated warrant and released Hunt, who drove back to Southern California. An autopsy performed later that day found that the young girl had been a victim of a homicide. Now, mind you, she's not even identified yet.
No.
I mean, I don't even know who she is yet.
But I'm saying nobody's missing a child.
Yeah. This is how many days after they've discovered her?
Yeah.
From March 1st. Yeah.
Yeah.
On March 9th, around 3 a.m., detectives found Hunt asleep in his car in the parking lot of San Diego International Airport. He was interviewed and ultimately booked on suspicion of murder. Bail was set at $2 million. Graham remained in custody in Texas and was then extradited to Los Angeles, where she was booked at the Norwalk Sheriff's Station for an unrelated warrant and was then interviewed regarding her daughter's death. On March 10th, the coroner confirmed the victim to be that of Trinity Love Jones. They used DNA to identify her and also a chipped tooth. On April 22nd, 2022, Tequista Graham was sentenced to state prison. She received 15 years to life, and Emil Hunt received 25 years to life.
I don't know why it's just not life. I don't understand this to life. I just
forever.
Automatic.
Like you just need to rot in there.
You took away a life, and not only a life, it's your child's life.
I don't understand why he wasn't given a life sentence for what he did to his 3-year-old son.
Yeah. Already right there, we wouldn't even, well, I wouldn't know where we'd be because, Tequista herself is a piece of work.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, it's really hard to, again, I'm not blaming child services for this happening, but I feel like they have to take a part of the blame for this continuing to happen.
More needs to be done. I don't know how much education you need to be a social worker. It's just, I feel like they need additional training. They're dealing with these people who are aggressive, potential child abusers, potential, abusers in general. Yeah. So I think it's a dangerous, I just don't know what more you need to be to handle this job. And I know a lot of people don't like it.
Well, we could go on for ever, I think, on this topic, but that was our case on Trinity Love Jones, and we were able to go and visit the area, and there's a beautiful little memorial for her right where in the area where her body was found. And then I also went to visit her gravesite, and ironically, she's buried at the same cemetery that my grandparents are buried at, and she's very close to them, right around the little corner at a really beautiful, beautiful cemetery. So we have some pictures of that too. So
perfect. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for watching our video, and please click the like, subscribe, support us.
Yeah. We love to hear your comments. And we try to respond to everything that we get. So if you comment, sometimes it does take us a little while, but we will get back to you. So make sure and check us out on Instagram, and if you'd like to support us on Patreon, we're on 50 States of Madness.
Yeah, absolutely. And on TikTok.
Yeah, and on TikTok too. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And have a nice week.
Bye.
Bye.